Good day, everybody. I have been summoned to talk about drip coffee by Mr. Billy. But drip coffee is usually something that you like drink for work. It's not very fancy, and it's not. The beans are pre-grinded, so it's not freshly grinded. And if you would order a coffee in a restaurant and you would receive a drip coffee, then you would be kind of annoyed. But to my knowledge, in America, it's quite usual to receive drip coffee in a restaurant or in a diner. So that's something I'm curious about.
Can you hear me? 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about coffee. Dean, you want to talk about cold brew?
Yeah, I love. I'm a cold brew guy mostly. That's when you roast the coffee with not roast it, but extract it using cold instead of heat. Takes more time.
But how cold are we talking?
You just need to refrigerate it, but like you can't just grind up some coffee and then have cold brew. Like you gotta have it steeping for like I don't know, 14 hours.
Okay.
It's not really popular just because of the amount of space it'll take in an operation. So usually, you know,
I tried like pre-made cold brew. I tried it a few times, but I didn't do it myself yet.
it's usually going to be more powerful too, like a lot more caffeine. Um, but it's not good with every bean. Like cold brew is generally better with like the South American beans.
Hmm. To be honest, I haven't gotten so deep into the different beans yet. I just grab one popular brand or the other.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't remember having anything particular in Germany. And really, this the cold brew culture is primarily like American. Um, whereas like in some countries, like like in Italy, yeah, good luck getting a nice coffee. Like even the concept of freddo isn't really um, Italian, from what I know.
Be careful what you say, or you will start a war with those guys.
Yeah, yeah, I remember Starbucks. They have these roasteries, and they tried to open one of them in Milan, and it was like, fuck off. We don't need your bullshit here.
Yeah.
Um, I'll go first on one of the proposals I put up um, to award 200,000 grape to Adrian. Um, earlier we had done something similar for Sebastian. There's really like Adrian's right up there with Sebastian and like how important his contributions have been to Realms. Um, and really, it was an oversight that it hadn't been done earlier. This proposal. So it's really in the same kind of spirit, and it would be an honor for us to have him at that proposal threshold. So wanted to get that up there in case anybody had any questions before it goes on chain.
And for context, I think we can also explain who Adrian is. Um, Adrian has been working on the front end for Realms since Mango launched their DAO. And with the recent events with But yeah, I agree with Dean. I think we definitely need to recognize and reward contributors in the ecosystem, even if they're not active in Grape daily. They support us for sure on governance, and we should show the same support back. So I think, Dean, that's a really good proposal.
So this is like a partnership with Realms, or I mean, the spirit is not about Adrian as a person, but it's Adrian's contribution to Realms, right?
Yeah.
It's everything. It's his contribution to Realms and how much support we've gotten for getting the Saga component on Realms so we could order as a DAO. The fact that we were able to claim back the over 30,000 USDC from their website through our DAO, that was work that I'm pretty sure Mango. I don't think they did a separate grant for that, because we're the only DAO that I know of that actually had to use this functionality. So,
Okay.
as a token of appreciation, I think it would be nice to recognize that he's done a lot of work and he's been very supportive to Grape.
Yeah. I was
And I
I
agree
was
with what CryptoPause is saying. This is not uh, giving more voting power to somebody in our DAO that we'd like, or it's somebody in the ecosystem that we obviously all have seen has contributed and has been very supportive. And it's not something that he has asked for. It's something that we would like to do, I think, as a token of appreciation for his work.
I was just thinking in general, if it is like to show appreciation to Realms, if it would be maybe some way to set up like a partnership, multi-sig, squads or whatever, and then fund that. So it's not so personal, but
There is a wallet. I mean, we could do that, Dean. We could we could send these funds to the SPL governance wallet, and then through a council vote, it would again go to Adrian. I mean, there would be. I'm pretty sure there would be full consensus on the realm side. So we could, Dina, if you think it's okay. I mean, the destination wallet could be the SPL governance realm.
Yeah,
I'm not so particular about this. It's
I,
just
I
an
so I've
idea.
already I shared the proposal with Adrian, and I already have like the wallet he specified, but I can go back and say, hey, the DAO wants to send it somewhere else first. Yeah, he gave me a wallet. It's not the same wallet he used for Athens DAO as well. So now I'm thinking, okay, outside of the fact that like he DM'd me it, and this is one of those things where it's like, okay, do I now take a screenshot of our DM conversation to prove that Adrian's wallet is this? Because I don't think he has a. Let me see. Anyway, I'm down for.
I'm good with either thing. What you come up with was just like general thinking. Okay, if we want to do a partnership, maybe in the future with somebody, then I think to do this via like a multi-sig, it would be for partnership. It would be better, but if it's for personal contribution, we can do whatever wallet Dean feels comfortable with.
Yeah, I just like what was easy with Sebastian is he's also got the SNS next to it. I don't see it for this wallet. Obviously, by default the guy's doxed, right? Because the realms thing,
Yeah.
the realms proposal says Adrian. It's that wallet. Anyway, there's no rush on it. I'll probably get the proposal up. Sometime this week. Let me see how I can. If anybody else has some ideas on the wallet specifics, like other than the one he specified to me. And let me see if there's a way I can add proof of his specification.
Yeah, sounds good.
Also, a lot of big stuff happened this weekend with the Grape Mint. You guys also saw Billy's update on Discourse about that. Yeah, pivotal day, pivotal moment. One step closer to being measurably the most decentralized organization on Earth. So I recommend everybody read it. Ask any questions.
So basically, the mint now is closed. There's no way for the mint to ever create any new grape. The ability to burn is something that the DAO and anybody that holds grape will have. So the supply of grape can only go lower than what it currently is. And the quorum that we also had to adjust immediately after minting the tokens has been set to 10% of the total supply, which is a good reflection of the actual unlocked and circulating grape. The other step that is pending, which we will complete tomorrow, is the streams for the earlier supporters of Grape will be set up on StreamFlow on a vesting schedule, which is going to end in 20 months from December 14th. 20 months from, correct, yes, December 14th. So September 14, 2024, all vesting will be completed. Another decision which we have taken as a team, and which we don't have a team anymore, but we decided that the full remaining grape allocation will go to the DAO. So the team will not receive any more grape and a vesting schedule. And this we will do for a few reasons. The main reason is we're all part of the DAO and we're all basically the same team. So there's no team versus DAO, different allocations, because we were trying to figure out how is it possible to continue emitting grape on vesting schedules where we have this misalignment between the team, the community, and the earlier supporters. The current vested supporters of Grape are not participating in governance. We haven't seen any active participation, and it seems that they probably won't, at least for the immediate future. It doesn't seem like that way. So the next steps for Grape and the DAO is to figure out how we can expand the current council, which is 5 members, to a more decentralized group, which includes people that are not directly connected with anybody from the original team. So if anybody has any questions or comments, because I know this is a really big moment, feel free to ask.
Yeah, that's a huge announcement. Great stuff, guys. My question is, because it's a lot to take in, will you do an announcement how to put these changes into writing?
To put these changes into writing, we will need to start discussing the council topic, which is the grape which was minted is in a wallet which is still controlled by the same mint authority. This is one of the things we want to make sure it's in a multi-sig as soon as possible. And we would like to figure out what the best way is to expand the current council to be effectively more decentralized. So anybody that's a member of the DAO, qualifies, and yeah, it's a big discussion, and we need to start talking about that first.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, and to answer Butter's question, the great thing about a DAO structure is that people could come and go at free will. That's the whole point of a DAO. So it's because people are contributing like this month, maybe the next month they might not have the same availability. Everybody that was contributing, like one name that comes to mind is like David Starflash. He might not be like actively involved in Grape right now, but he's more than welcome to start contributing anytime in the future. And the same goes for Dim Salk, who is not as active, but he could become more active if he wanted to. The rest of the names here that I see are all active, like today.
Yeah, it's definitely a big moment, and I think the next big thing for people to think about is the other council tokens, the other council members. Everything else, we can sit and talk about history and whatnot, but the part that moves us forward is the other council tokens. Once that's handled, that's it. Like no one, we are measurably, quantifiably the most decentralized, and on all chains. So I think there's a process where people will need to, nominate others or raise their hand to be interested, or we can talk about an evaluation process, but that's the last really big one.
Yeah, maybe I can fill the void with some updates on our bounty process, how it's going there.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so currently we are moving in the direction of also more decentralization. Like we are starting the first polls for, and we are working towards anonymous polls. So it's a truly secret vote. And so the concept I want to test out is to involve the bounty fund owners more into the process, and so that they don't necessarily like have to discuss, but that their vote always counts for things. That's the first change. They are more involved now. And the second change that was proposed by Legend is that we are moving forward with the first DAO core role integrated into the bounty process for recurring bounty. And we are doing that with the DAO core recordings. And currently there are votes on how we will do that in the bounty polls channel. I can link really quick. Here's the channel. Yeah, and that's the direction we are going. So far it looks really good. But let's see where we end up.
What are we using for voting to make it hidden?
We had tried out the instant poll bot by I can't see it right now, but we are moving to a new bot. Legend linked it somewhere. Legend, do you have it? Do you have it close? The info we are looking for? Yeah, easy poll. We are moving forward towards easy poll bot.
I'm gonna check it out. I haven't.
And that's for like organizational decisions. So, for example, what you can see in bounty polls, I envision we can do that via Discord polls here, like organizational decisions, and transactions obviously go via the squads.
Very good. Very good. And how long will the actual voting time be? Is it like for decisions during a call, or is it for um, members could, which are not available during the call, have like X amount of time to respond? How have you thought about that part?
For decisions, during the call, if we are discussing, do we want to, is everybody in agreement, or do we have a majority for payment of this bounty or for accepting this bounty? I think it should be very short. Like the way we have done it with emojis so far was like maybe 10 minutes or so. Like ongoing discussion, everybody's in the call, let's make a decision. And for different like organizational decisions where it's about deeper changes, then I'm looking at days or maybe a week, something about that time frame. That's also what's happening right now in Bounty Pause with these like fundamental questions about how we should structure the DAO recording bounty.
And the historic votes, can you export them? Like after like a vote happens, can you export who voted what, or does it remain anonymous? How does it work?
This is beyond my knowledge.
I'm just curious, just so we know like how this works.
Maybe Legend can answer you, but I can't. I just know that during the vote, nobody knows.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to seeing how that works. Also regarding Butter, your question about a proper announcement, I think that we could make an announcement as a DAO once we have the correct path forward, which is we vote for a council, and so the tokens which are minted could reside in a council-controlled treasury in realms, which is voted by the DAO. And at the same time, what other decisions we might take to revise the tokenomics um, could be done after that. But I think it makes sense that we took a decision which makes the most sense for Grape as a DAO and as a community. And at the same time, we're not going to enforce what we think is the only way forward. I think it's best that as a DAO, we could come up with uh, multiple alternative paths that we could decide on how to move forward. And when I say revise the tokenomics, I'm referring to the actual forced emissions that we had to do for a long time, which they don't really make sense. And at the same time, if we want to bring in more users, more community members, we need to see when it's a good time to do that. And when you're in the current market conditions, it probably doesn't make the most sense to force out emissions. So if I remember correctly, Chris Wales' friends had one of idea to instead of having a linear curve on the emissions, we could have an S curve, and the S curve would be the emissions could be going up and down depending on the market conditions, the demand, and with the grape back tokens, we could also take that a step further and say if there's no grape actually demanded, for membership in Dean's List or Grape Access, or, the emissions that we have could be connected to actual inflows and outflows of grapes. So I think that we have the flexibility to play around with all of that, if everybody is on the same page and fully aligned, and the team allocation part being fixed and going for basically 4 years is an added uncertainty that the DAO doesn't need, and the community doesn't need. So that's, I think, one of the other reasons why we thought it was a good idea to um, make it clear that we're all basically the same team. There's no separate group going to be controlling anything regarding grapes. So that's the main message we want to get out there. Regarding the moderator discussion, from what I've read, is that they are currently handling the self-policing, and we should have an update. I think Tariq had shared that earlier in the DAO, so I'm guessing by sometime this week or the latest by next DAO call, we should have an update on how that's going.
Okay, update on Tuesday. Looking forward to it.
So, Ryder, do you have any ideas regarding next steps on what process we can come up with to vote on an extended council.
Well, I think this should be like a bigger discussion. And my last information on the council tokens was that we were moving away from the council tokens on a longer time frame.
That's still the case, but until we get to the longer time frame, there's an intermediate time frame where
Okay.
we can't continue to have only the same people controlling the council token, while we have basically already minted the full grape allocation. It definitely needs to become more decentralized.
Okay, then we will also have to talk about things, because if I recall it correctly, it was possible for a council token holder to create a council token based proposal in the realms, and then also set the quorum to 1. So basically, one guy with a council token can currently set up a proposal and execute it. Is that correct?
Yep, that is correct. And we should be migrating to the new SQL governance at some point where that will no longer be the case. But even the way it is right now, it takes a few days for the proposal to go through. So even if somebody could pass a proposal, that means everybody else just doesn't vote. If you have a council token, one prerequisite is that you are active and alert and could take action, on ideally under 24 hours. And most of these proposals, it's a bigger responsibility versus the community grape. But at the same time, I think we do have a lot of members who would be good candidates.
Yeah. If we can't, if the current token standard we're using, if it's not possible to change the minimum quorum for a council token vote, then we will just have to take what we have currently. But if it's possible to change, then I would say that's something we have to think about. If it would be better to have like a minimum.
And we also have to decide what the correct quorum would be, because
yes,
this council has a much bigger responsibility. That if we don't achieve quorum, we can get locked out of everything. So that's something we need to keep in mind while setting up the quorum.
yeah. So I think we will need to spend a little bit of thinking about how we go about this.
Dean, are you there? Would you like to provide some feedback regarding this topic?
Yeah, I'm here for so I think we could adjust the quorum today on that one governance, because the current one has a vote threshold percentage of 3%. So I think we could just adjust that and it would fix it. But let me check. Let me check with Sebastian first, just before we even move forward with it. Because that governance only has that account. It has nothing else in it. One of my questions is there anybody interested? Like, it's also like the Discord ownership. I think the first thing is who would be interested in doing it. It's a huge responsibility. And I think, first we have to kind of get a gauge of, which members are interested in it. We might find out that not many people want it. I don't know. But yeah, that would be the order of operations. I think first is let's see, maybe we can change the quorum on the existing one. And we have to migrate the mint authority for that council token back to the to that governance, and then to expand it. In an ideal situation, personally, if we have 5 people right now, I would love if we could extend it to 11, and then we would have 6 new people.
Six new people.
That would be my personal ideal. I'm very good at communicating what I think would be best. Others are very good at communicating what they think is wrong with my idea.
Yeah, I was checking Realms ownerships a few days back, and I was seeing like 18 or so participation. So that would be like a third of our active DAO would then be council members. Yeah, but like I said, there's the well, if we really do like 6 new people, then I think we should definitely adjust the quorum, because it's feels to me like too much vulnerability that one person could do something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's on my to-do list. I will coordinate with Sebastian and the other council token holders to get clarity on our ability to set the quorum to something other than 1. Yeah, I've got that as my my to-do.
Okay, great, thank you.
So one of the reason why we need to continue having the council token is because the circulating supply is less than the remaining amount that needs to be emitted. And the community definitely doesn't have enough grape today to fully control the DAO and be completely safe from any potential like financial attack. So if we don't get like the reputation going and we don't have enough grape in the community control, that means that we need to continue having this council tokens, and this could be for a year, it could be for 2 years, but I wouldn't imagine it would be longer than that. Realistically, we will definitely have a long-term solution, which we won't need these council tokens anymore.
Yeah, and to expand on that, Billy pointed out that Mango doesn't have a council token, for example, but they've got a very large amount of active Mango. I think they have.
They also control their governance program
Right.
and the VSR program, which is connected to their DAO. So they have multiple fail safes. We do not control our DAO. It's Solana Foundation controls the default instance, which Grape has, and that's the same case for the VSR that we use. Is also a Solana Foundation controlled realm, which controls that also. So even if we wanted to be malicious, we can't. Or if you wanted to protect the DAO, again, we can't using at the program level. So we only have the council token as a failsafe, and until we figure out reputation and all the mechanisms that somebody would be able to use to attack Grape, we need to continue using the council token.
Yeah, on the topic, if there are people who want to do it, if I'm reading it correctly, CryptoPaws just volunteered himself.
That's great, and I hope we get more volunteers so we can have a proper discussion on what a proper setup will look like and how we could be adding more members in the future or handling the inability to reach quorum. All those issues that might arise. It's a good idea to discuss them early on so we have a process on what to do.
Yeah.
Did we have any other topic this week for discussion?
I also noticed we have a member in the audience, INEXE. It's at the DAO prospect level. Welcome to the DAO call. I don't know if you're interested in joining the DAO. If you are, it's a great time to introduce yourself. You can either do that in the live chat or come up on stage. You can do that by raising your hand. But yeah, just wanted to point out I saw a DAO prospect in the in the audience. So we haven't had a DAO edition other than that I know of.
Yeah, this is a very silent.
I'm going through just some members to see if there's any criteria on removal. That's why I'm silent right now. But I think we've covered the agenda. There's a lot of big topics we brought up, right? It's the council and the other big change is the Discord ownership. Right now, it looks like it's going to be Taki Soul. But it's great. These are questions that are not even asked in other DAOs. Any other DAO you guys are part of, please let me know the moment you're able to just raise your hand and get a council token, or just raise your hand and be a Discord owner. Like seriously, I'm sure I see a few of you here. I know you're in other DAOs. If that exists in another one, let me know. I'd love to join them.
Yeah, on the topic though, I mean, since we don't have that much to talk about, I'm not hearing any other suggestions and topics for our DAO. What does everybody think about the current situation with Metaplex and this forced decentralization that
Yeah,
they're
if you could
trying to?
just give me like an Eli 5 on that, because I saw it kind of blew up on Twitter, but I don't really get it.
Yeah, I like the TLDR is that there apparently is an immediate need to uh, further decentralize the protocol, the ownership, and there's multiple conflicts of interest on the suggested parties to take over control. I'm just observing, what's going on in our ecosystem from other protocols and how they're handling decentralization. It sounds like everybody's trying to call out that tokens are not a good way to decentralize protocols, but they're not even trying, and that's what I don't understand. Is if they tried and they failed, I would understand that it doesn't make sense, but they want to start basically a joint venture of Magic Eden, Cardinal, and all the other entities to control their own protocols, and they could basically control who gets in and out of this small community that they've created. So it's interesting how everybody sees decentralization and from a different perspective. I don't know what's right and wrong. I'm just curious what everybody else thinks. And on the TLDR part, Taki, most NFT collections have the update authority, and they could basically already do things which they shouldn't on a lot of NFTs. Um, so if they use the update authority to create new rules, and they still have that update authority, that's something which they could do anyway, regardless of what Metaplex is creating as a solution.
Yeah. I think the biggest part in all of this is that the people somehow believed that they owned this NFT, and it's like a physical thing that doesn't change, and they own it. But that's not the reality. The reality is that
It wasn't for the majority of the
yes,
NFTs from the very beginning.
yeah,
99.9% are not immutable. They're all basically mutable. And the update authority controls the royalties. It could change them up or down, where if they were enforced. So yeah, most NFTs are not really NFTs. If that's the
yeah,
TLDR.
and it basically comes down to different expectations to reality. So the people thought they had this immutable thing that they owned, but in reality it's more like the question, okay, you bought the car, but if the car has over-the-air updates available and the manufacturer decides now that your heating seat should not work anymore unless you pay the subscription and activates the update, do you still own the car? It's somehow similar to the NFT situation.
Yeah, it's very similar. But the way it was presented to developers was that this uh, this ability was a feature, not a disadvantage. That we could build more things, we could create more things because we have this control. But in most cases, when you give this control and it's not used as intended, going to be used for eventually for some malicious use. So if this update authority exists for an NFT, and somebody could or accidentally screw up your NFT or intentionally screw it up, it's going to happen. If you have an NFT which is actually not updatable, you know that the NFT that you have won't change. And that's what you actually got. Now, on the pandas, for example, they made them completely updatable, and the uniqueness that existed in the beginning no longer exists. So all these projects, have taken a completely different approach on what they think is right. So it's interesting to see all the different solutions that these protocols are going to come up with.
Yeah. To be honest, my personal, like not even an opinion, more like a gut feeling, like kind of thing, is that if you buy NFT and we set a percentage of royalties per transaction, and when you buy this NFT on a marketplace or you sell this NFT on a marketplace, which circumvents the previously agreed upon or set upon royalties, then it's you on the marketplace who are the grifters and not the guy who made the NFT collection, because he was very honest and open about it. He said, okay, I'm going to make this NFT collection and it's going to have this royalty attached to it, and if you don't like it, then buy another NFT. That's your choice to make. But if you then say, okay, I want this NFT, but I don't want to pay the royalty, so I'm going to do creative / shady / innovative, however you want to frame it, things to circumvent that royalty. And from like a gut feeling point of thinking, it's you and the marketplace who allows this, that are the not so great guys, let's call it this way.
I don't know if it's a right and wrong and what's great. Well, you could do it. And the fact that you could do it, somebody will do it if it's not enforceable. But if it doesn't have to be enforceable, like that your NFT is basically no longer your NFT, a update authority controls your NFT. You are volunteering to uh, buy these kind of NFTs, which are controlled by anybody could update who could trade on what marketplace and whatnot. Like the way NFTs are traded today, without enforceability, it gives you, the buyer and seller, full control of what you're doing with your NFT. And on these new proposed solutions, you will no longer have that control. But that's fine for NFTs that are designed to work this way.
Well, yeah, like you said, it depends upon on what the NFT is designed for, what you want to do with it. And so far, to my knowledge, most of the NFTs are either designed as an entry token into some sort of community, or only as something to trade. And yeah, so if you want to trade it, then you only need to have the right to transact it, basically. And if you want to use it as an entry token to a community or exchange it for some kind of service, like if you got a Portal NFT and you want to have that big virtual mansion, then you depend upon the other party to fulfill like the Web2 component of the deal. So you come in with your Portal NFT and say, okay, I have this Portal NFT, I would like to have my big virtual mansion. And then they have to validate that and give you the mansion. And if you did some shady shit with that NFT, then it's again the question, okay, who's now like in the wrong? And that's a very gray area to say who's in the wrong, because, or not in the wrong, but let's say you circumvented the royalties and you come in and want your VR mansion, and then the project is like, no, you circumvented royalties, we will downgrade you to the smaller mansion or whatever. And well, my main point is that whoa, that was
Ryder,
very
I mean,
loud.
the problem is not royalties only. You know, royalties has been, it seems to be an excuse for what it is. And I think right now we're going through a very sad phase in the entire, let's say, marketplace, ecosystem, because basically what we're doing is projects are pitting each shelf one against another with who's made the first solution and who's made the best solution and who's going to be the decision maker of the future of this standard. Where, to be quite honest, Metaplex didn't say or propose anything. They were discussing behind closed doors on their own on what they're going to do in their decentralization. It actually started by Jordan talking to Magic Eden and making an entire issue of the problem. And then Cardinal, which made a royalty enforcement, all of a sudden they were supposedly second in the royalty enforcement game because Magic Eden used something else. In the end of the day, the irony is that all these projects are talking about decentralization and governance, and they called it guardians when they don't have any experience with decentralization or governance. Magic Eden is a centralized company. They're protecting their own interests. They're going to continue to protect their own interests. Jack said it 2 days ago. They are interested in their own interests. So what stops them for just voting for the NFTs to just be listed in their own marketplace, which they're going to do? They're not going to care about any other marketplace that's going to come out there because they want to continue to have the dominance. And they did that with the royalties when they made royalty zero on their choice, and they put their marketplace zero so they could get their market share back from Ya and Soul and Art, which took a considerable amount of market share. These are things that what happens is it pushes collections away from the ecosystem, and it doesn't give value essentially to us as let's say NFT holders and projects that are going to come in the ecosystem and are going to use like Grape or whatever solution they're going to use, or it makes it smaller and something that we're going to be a laughing stock in compared to other chains like Ethereum, where you see OpenSea, which clearly said, you know what, we support royalties regardless of the situation and the status, and we are always going to support it. Magic Eden is thinking about their bottom line and their market share only.
So you say this is like an attack or a business move by a coalition of both Metaplex and Magic Eden?
Not Metaplex. No, Metaplex. Everybody's fighting against each other. The irony that we should see as a DAO, and we're a DAO, is we've gone through a lot of this stuff. We know what it is. We know how DAOs work. They proposed, and it was a former employee of Metaplex, Jordan, who did the Trash Pandas. He proposed that he built everything. He said he made this thing, and this is the problem that Metaplex has. And we're going to work with Magic Eden to solve it. And we're thinking about it, and you know what? If you take a step back, Magic Eden really has brought people to the ecosystem, but it really hasn't benefited the ecosystem by giving back. They're closed source. They don't abide by royalties. They've harmed collections. And in the end of the day, Jack, the CEO of Magic Eden, turned around and said, "You know what? We care about our bottom line. You can't have this person be a decision maker or even part of this collaboration to do anything with regards to how this standard should work." And having someone propose that is preposterous. And I think that's where the ecosystem is like, what the hell? People don't like Magic Eden, but they use Magic Eden. That's the irony, because liquidity is there.
Okay, so I got this is like a free for all, and well,
It really is. In the end of the day, you've seen back-to-back bad acting from Magic Eden, Soul Art, yeah, and then you have a coalition of Exchange Art, Magic Eden, these closed source, centralized solutions that they're proposing should be a regulating, let's say, authority over the NFT standard. That to me is a shot in the foot for any decentralization that Solana would want to accomplish on a standard that affects every NFT that we own.
and do we have any perspective on, are we just, I mean, okay, we have Magic Eden, and obviously Magic Eden, it works kind of, but they don't really care, and people still use it because of the liquidity. Do we have like a perspective for maybe a decentralized on-chain order book for NFTs liquidity, like we have with Open Book now, or
It's not it's a proposal where they made, which was absurd. Right now, we've trusted Metaplex so far. It doesn't hurt for them to continue to pursue what they're doing in their form. And what happened these past weeks, where it keeps on escalating, everybody's fighting each other because they don't agree with what was proposed. I personally think that just Metaplex has to continue what they're doing to decentralize whatever they're going to do, and to focus on giving a fair opportunity for any marketplace and any collection to have the same, let's say, the same standards. So when they're going to launch, when they're going to be available, to not give any objective, let's say, a position where they're going to be, or they're not going to be blacklisted or whitelisted more to a marketplace compared to others.
when who launches?
This is in general. This is going to affect any NFT. I would recommend you check on Twitter and you see what's been said. You'll get an interesting insight there, and also the cannibalism that's going on right now.
Yeah, cannibalism. Alex Pertz is asking if can we do anything with Grape Art to take advantage of the situation and attract attention?
Well, right now, Grape Art is the only open source marketplace in the ecosystem, and it's a fact. I mean, there isn't another open source marketplace that's live. Holoplex is shut down. They're going to eventually launch as Motley Labs, and they're going to have the night market. So right now, we're the only open source marketplace. And in the end of the day, we also have a DAO. We've been through this before, on and over again. We know how it works. None of these projects have a DAO and have the experience or the backend to do it. I mean, they have more liquidity, but still, I mean, it seems ironic to ask for a centralized company to, be a decision maker with regards to something that's so crucial for an ecosystem that is Web3 and open source and open, and should, be proponents of openness. In the end of the day, marketplaces in general, regardless of liquidity, should be able to have access to sell NFTs, to buy NFTs from any place that they were listed originally. And fees should be shared. And from our perspective, I mean, we built a tool that could be used by anybody in any collection. So, from our perspective, that's the way we've seen it so far. But it's really up to us what we want to convey and what we want to put out. But it's interesting to see the discussion and to see where they're potentially looking into heading, because it could cause an issue in the long run for NFTs.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, but I think your question also aimed at if it would be worth to spend maybe something on a marketing campaign right now.
Well, you know what's interesting? We have the Bears Reloaded. Their floor price now is at, I think, five and a half SOL. They've increased their floor price by recommendations that we did. We told them that they should they should remove the ability to have their reloader continuously open, and they closed it. And we gave them really, really good advice, and that's benefited their floor, that's benefited their holders. And I think we could provide, let's say, advisory role for a lot of collections. Not necessarily be the exclusive marketplace, but be able to direct them on what they could do to not only improve their floor price but also engagement.
Yeah, I mean it's good for the beers that their floor price went up, but I mean we care about the ecosystem and we care about the sustainability of our DAO. That's what we care about. But I will read up on everything and then I have a better opinion on this.
Do we have any other topics we would like to discuss? Are we happy with the time of the DAO calls? Time of the DAO call initiative, the day?
Yeah, I think we're good. We are our agenda raccoon wasn't here, but I think we're good.
If anybody thinks we should change anything, feel free to bring that up, because it would be great to have more people participate and actually talk in a DAO call or write on discourse, but we can't force that. It should be organic. So, guys, if there's nothing else to add, we can wrap up this call. And with our next DAO call on Tuesday, looking forward to the updates from the moderators, and we will have updates on the streams, which we will set up tomorrow. We'll have an update on that, on what happened with some grape moving around, just to give more transparency on what's going on. I'm just going to repeat that we will be setting up those tomorrow, and these vesting schedules will be for another 20 months. The other pending topic, which we should start formulating a process around, is the further decentralization of the council token. Dean recommended that we could add up to maybe 6 more members. And all of this is open to discussion, suggestions. And so far, Dean, that's your suggestion building one. And we just started this conversation, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot more suggestions from other DAO members while everybody takes the time to understand what we're doing exactly.
Great call, guys. Really.
Great stuff.
Yeah, it's a big day. Also, awesome to see Tata Martins back in the DAO prospect. It seems that both Tata and Tata didn't have the grape. He went and got it immediately. That's awesome. Awesome sauce. Thank you. It's just Sharon now, who it seems that he woke up. He saw it in DAO chat. Anyway, went through a lot of stuff. Every day that passes, we more and more confidently can go around and say, yeah, we're a real DAO. What are you? And again, like I challenge anybody to find another DAO that says, hey, raise your hand, get a council token, raise your hand, own the Discord. Those might not sound like big deal things, but when we started, a lot of the tools didn't exist. Now those tools are here. He says he clicked, but he didn't get the roll. Anyway, now a lot of those tools are here. People are still not taking the moves. Not everything is about the technology or the tools. It's also the DNA and the people. We've shown that we've got that DNA. We've shown that we're doing the real deal. So, let's spread the word, as Mother also said. Share around all of the things that are happening, and excited to catch up again on Tuesday.
A quick announcement from my side: the bounty call will be on Wednesday, same time Wednesday. Next week, not Tuesday. Will be on Wednesday. One-time rescheduling.
And yes, Wednesday. And you've already made the event for that?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Well, have a great rest of the Sunday, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.